Hello and welcome back to the Doctor's Garage. So in this video today, I'm going to be talking about 5 different things that I do to stop my Land Rover from getting stolen. All of the tips I mentioned in this video can be used for any car, particularly the keyless entry cars, like a lot of modern cars are, such as my Land Rover. And I'm going to talk about one particular tip I really think anybody with a keyless entry car should be doing. So make sure you stick around for the whole video. Click like, let me know what you think in the comments below. So before we begin, let's talk about how most cars are stolen at the moment, which is by relay car theft. And essentially what that means is the thieves would come to your property where your car's parked. One would stand outside your house, scanning your house, looking for that key within your property, while the other stands next to the car. Once they manage to find the key inside the house, they can relay that signal to the other person, and then they can open your car remotely, much like having the key next to your car or within your car. And as you know, most of these cars will not only unlock with your finger as soon as you're near the car, but they'll also start as well, just by having that signal or that key within the car. And that means these cars can be stolen in less than 60 seconds straight off your driveway.
Okay, let's run.
So tip number 1, what can we do about that? Well, the first thing is using a signal blocker, and that is in the form of something called a Faraday pouch or a Faraday box. And essentially what these are is these are coated with a coating that stops that relay signal transmission being able to happen. So what I do is I have a Faraday box in my house and a Faraday pouch as well. I put my keys in this pouch, and when I do that, what it means is my little key here, my Land Rover key for my Discovery, goes in the pouch. At night time, when I do that, the signals can't be get at from outside, from the thief scanning the property. So if they're looking for the key, they won't be able to find it within a Faraday pouch. Now, pouches are quite good. They're quite convenient and quite easy. You can have these on your keys, actually, because it's not only at your home, it might get stolen. If you're out anywhere and you've got your keys nearby, they can do the same. But you can also get a box, and I'll put the links for both the pouch and the box, the ones that I use, in the description below this video. They're really cheap, and I think one of the easiest ways to stop relay car theft in general. So tip number 2 is using physical locks or physical barriers to stop a thief from taking your car. So for my Land Rover, what I use is I use a steering lock, a very old school looking steering lock. You probably thought we'd never have to use these again after about 15 years ago. But now with the introduction of keyless car theft, these have actually become really important again, because actually they go on your steering wheel and stop the thief, or at least make it more difficult for the thief to steal your car. You can get one of these. You can also get a full round disc lock. However, I have seen very recently online that some thief bought a battery angle grinder and literally cut the disc lock in half, which is pretty terrifying. So obviously, if people really want to get your car, they probably will, but there are ways to avoid it, or at least make it more difficult and make it more of a challenge to take your car and make it a bit of a longer journey rather than the 60 seconds that I originally said was able with just a keyless car theft. So a steering lock like this. Well, the other thing as well is physical barriers. So I also have physical barriers too. So things like bollards within your driveway are really quick and easy to install, and just create that extra deterrent and make it much more difficult to actually move your car. Again, a link to those items, my steering lock, the physical bollards I spoke about, are all available in the description below. So go check them out, see if they might suit your purpose for your vehicle at home. Now, if you're new to the channel, I have a Land Rover Discovery 5 HC Luxury that I'm sat in at the moment, that I've done loads of videos on my channel, and also a Land Rover Defender TD5, a 2007 car, which I absolutely love, which is kind of my project car I'm working on, doing a lot of work this year. So if you're interested in any of that, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment of what you think in the box below, and it really helps also if you like my video. So tip number 3 is a tracker. And for those that don't know, a tracker on most of the cars when you buy them new is active for around the period of the warranty, let's say 3 years, and you don't have to pay for that. It's part of the car buying it new. If you're buying a car second-hand and it's outside of that 3-year period, you may think your car has a tracker, and it does, but it's probably not active. And that's particularly in the Land Rover series of cars. So my car was just fallen out of a 3-year period, and as a result, it didn't have a tracker automatically for that period after it. You had to pay the subscription to keep using the Land Rover In Control service. That subscription isn't too bad yearly, but it's definitely worth having. The only thing to note about that is that they're very standard on where they place the trackers in these cars. And I've recently had friends that have had Land Rovers stolen, and the tracker has been ripped out of the car because people know where they are very quickly and can get to them. The other thing you'll find thieves do is when they steal a car, they leave them usually in a multi-story car park or somewhere remote and just wait for a few days to see if someone is going to come and rescue the car. If they don't, it's probably going to be on a container ship somewhere and going away somewhere, as it's probably been stolen to sell, like most of these cars are at the moment. So for trackers, I think the best option actually, if you're really serious about your car security, is to get aftermarket tracker fitted. Ghost, who I'm going to speak about in a minute, do a really good tracker, and one you can actually fit at home yourself. It's a DIY installation. You can put the tracker wherever you want, and actually having that be able to put the tracker in a place where thieves aren't used to finding them is a much better option. So tip number 4 is carrying on that theme with Ghost. Now Ghost are a company that does an immobilizer, and this is a really good bit of kit, really worth having, and actually solves a lot of the problems that I've mentioned already in this video. So the Ghost immobilizer is an immobilizer that's fitted to your car, let's say typically something that's completely keyless, let's say like this Land Rover here. And what you do is once it's installed, which has to be professionally installed, it's about £450 here in the UK. When you do that, what it means is the car cannot be started without a unique pin basically being entered into the car, and that's a unique set of buttons. So it could be volume up, menu button, volume down, and that code would allow you to start the car. Without that, you cannot start the car. And the great thing with that is it uses the factory buttons. You don't have to have some other pin pad or something else can be hacked. It's just the factory pad in the car, and you can set that and change that whenever you want. And I think really that is probably the ultimate solution, because you can try and stop people getting into your car, but if they do and they've managed to do that, they've probably got the relay box that's going to be able to start your car. With this, it finally stops them being able to take the car, and it makes them unable to move your car, which I think actually is probably the biggest deterrent that you can have and the biggest way you're going to save your car. So I highly recommend the Ghost immobilizer. It's not that expensive and really will save your car being able to be moved should someone get into it. Again, link will be available in the description below, all about the Ghost immobilizer too. I think it's really one of the best pieces of kit you can have in a modern keyless car to stop it getting stolen. And finally, tip number 5, my biggest and best tip for these cars, which is really simple. You don't have to buy anything, you don't have to do anything different. You actually can turn off the keyless entry. So when you go to the car, you can't just push your finger onto the handle and it opens. You can disable that and get rid of it. It's a feature, to be honest, that I never really use, and actually a feature that I think if you turn off, at least stops or makes it much more difficult for that relay signal opening being able to happen. And I'll show you how to do that on my Land Rover now. You can look in any of the manuals for your car online or in your manual that you've probably got with your vehicle, and it will tell you how to do it as well. And I think it's one of the most important things we can do to stop or at least make keyless car theft much more difficult. So I'll show you how to do that right now. So the car is currently locked and I have the keys right here. So with keyless car entry on, which it usually is on all these cars as standard, this is what you can do. You can have the keys just in your pocket. When you walk up to the car, you literally touch this bit just here and the car will open. Now, that's a problem, because if this wasn't the key that I've got, let's say it was a relay box that was emitting the same signal that had been mirrored from my house, you'd still be able to open the car in exactly the same way. So how do you turn that off? Well, what you do is you open the car door. When the car door's open, what you need to do is press the light button 3 times. 1, 2, 3, then the unlock button, and that's all you need to do. And you need to do that in the first 3 seconds when your car door is opened. So now if I lock the car with the keys, and I put these keys back in my back pocket like they were before, and I go keylessly to try and get into the car, you can see it doesn't open the car. I can't get in the car is locked. Even with the keys right next to me just here, it doesn't open. And that's because I've turned that feature off. So now I have to use the keys to actually physically press the button to open the car. So this is a setting I'd recommend running on my car. So what I run, so I haven't got keyless entry on, so you literally can't get into the car without unlocking it on the keys. If you want to restore it back to factory setting, you simply you open the door again in the first 3 seconds, 3 times on the light and then the lock button instead. But I would recommend keeping it on this if you want to prevent your car being stolen in this new relay keyless method. So I hope that's been a useful set of tips to help stop your car get stolen. It's at least what I do with my Land Rover itself. If you like the video, click subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next video.